The View is spreading dangerous anti-Trump hate again. Yes, even after 2 assassination attempts against Donald Trump, the hosts of The View refuse to stop with their violent rhetoric, knowing full well of the possible dire repercussions. Sky News All Stars Morrow, Rita Panahi and Tomi Lahren exposed the latest disturbing anti-Trump rhetoric that many are saying could incite the next wave of violence against the former president. The View makes no secret of their anti-Trump agenda, but as the election draws closer, the hosts are waging an all-out war in a desperate attempt to bring down Donald Trump. And in their first ever interview with the sitting president, The View brought Joe Biden along the anti-Trump train as he continued the pile-on.
Then he just wouldn't go. He was like a bug. He just kept being there. He was like a bug right there. So you felt...
Social media commentators blasted Whoopi Goldberg for the comment, saying Whoopi Goldberg compares Trump to a bug. Biden then imitates smashing a bug dead on the table. Hosts and audience laugh. Is this incitement to violence? Just imagine if Trump did this. Another commentator agreed, saying The View needs to be shut down immediately for inciting political violence. And this wasn't the first time Whoopi Goldberg has unleashed on Donald Trump. The hosts of The View are behind countless personal attacks against the former president.
You know, he's not for the people.
No.
You know, he's not for any people. He's not for Republicans. I don't know what he's doing, except he is trying to stay out of jail. He's swimming as fast as he can. That part.
Yeah.
And again, this time, Joy Behar was on the attack, reveals Rita Panahi.
Now to the ladies of The View, and here Joy Behar indulges in more crazy, reckless rhetoric, claiming that Donald Trump is such a threat that every artist must back Kamala to save the Republic.
In this emergency that we're in, I think that the Who's artists should come out and speak for Kamala against Donald Trump, because he is an existential threat to the country. What do you say to that?
They speak like this even after an attempt on Trump's life 2 months ago that left a man dead, and Trump escaped death by millimetres.
On the other hand, Whoopi Goldberg's praise for Joe Biden is over the top and cringe.
So, welcome back. After 50 years of proud public service, President Joe Biden stepped up to lead us out of the dark, a very divisive era, and became one of the most substantial presidents of the past half-century. We are beyond honored to welcome the 46th President of the United States to our table, President Joe Biden.
But it hasn't always been this way. There was a time where the hosts of The View, including Whoopi Goldberg, fawned over Donald Trump, making these latest attacks against him seem very hypocritical.
And she likes me. She even put me in her movies.
I was just going to say.
She put me in her movies, right? A long time ago. So how much did I judge? Nothing.
Like they say in the
It was a freebie. Tommy, I love you. I'm telling you.
And they're trying to humanize him and change your idea about who this guy is. Don't fall for that.
Trump, you're talking about. Talking about Trump.
And it isn't just The View that's waging war against Donald Trump. Just hours before Goldberg's offensive comment, Secretary of Commerce Gina Raimondo told MSNBC that Democrats need to extinguish Trump for good.
How did we get here? Let's extinguish him for good.
And again on MSNBC, famed Trump hater Joy Reid displayed her agenda, calling Trump despicable.
The way he desecrated Arlington National Cemetery would be career-ending for a normal politician. His constant lies. But even this piece about saying, well, my building was the tallest until, they brought down the World Trade Center. Now it's the second tallest. I mean, everything he does is despicable.
The reason why it doesn't end his career is because his supporters are just as despicable. All right. Like Trump's whole thing, he's a narcissist, right? And so his whole thing is to have a complete lack of compassion and empathy for everybody else. It's all about him. That's why he lies about 9/11. It's all about him, me.
Sky News All Stars Morrow and Tomi Lahren exposed the usual suspects, CNN and MSNBC, for their dangerous Trump rhetoric.
Tommy, another week, another apparent assassination attempt on Donald Trump. Now, the shooter, the alleged potential shooter, had this huge social media history, all this progressive hard left stuff. And yet apparently it's the media that's blaming Trump for his rhetoric. Apparently it's Trump's rhetoric that's to blame here. Walk us through it.
Well, it makes no sense, as we both know, because we're logical and decent human beings. But I'd also like to point out that Donald Trump is dodging bullets and Kamala Harris is dodging interviews and questions. So there's a big contrast there between the two candidates that we have to choose from in November. But the way that the media, who has spent years demonizing and degrading Donald Trump, making him appear as if he's almost subhuman, they obviously play a role in this. Now, I'm not one that likes to point at political speech and say that that's the only reason that crazies commit heinous and crazy attacks, because ultimately it lies with that person, and anybody can be radicalized if they're not of stable mind. However, even after the second assassination attempt on Donald Trump, almost immediately after, you have MSNBC putting Hillary Clinton on the air, talking about once again how Donald Trump is dangerous and a threat to democracy. These people are shameless, they do not care, and they have absolutely zero regret for what they've caused and what they've done. They will win at all costs, and I think that's become abundantly clear.
Well, Tommy, you know, it's not just MSNBC here. Look at this CNN freakout when somebody suggested on this panel show that somehow, you know, the Democrats maybe ought to stop calling Trump this existential threat to democracy. Have a look at this.
He'll be a dictator. There'll be a bloodbath. There'll be a bloodbath. That there would be a bloodbath. He wants to terminate the U.S. Constitution.
She didn't say that there would be
the first thing she said, which was true, and the second thing
it is said by every Democrat working for or around her campaign every day on this network and every other one.
Tommy, it's like they put all this stuff out there every single day, and then when they get called on it, well, how's that for hypocrisy? They lose their minds.
And it's not only the media who are pushing the dangerous anti-Trump rhetoric. Former Trump opponent Hillary Clinton is stoking the fire with more ugly words, slamming the media for going too soft on Trump, reveals Sky News All-Star Rita Panahi.
She's back. Hillary is back with a wackadoodle MSNBC host, Rachel Maddow, and Hillary reckons that the media is too soft on Donald Trump. And note, this interview is after the second assassination attempt on Trump's life, inspired by the Dems labeling him a threat to democracy. So why don't we do that some more?
And I don't understand why it's so difficult for the press to have a consistent narrative about how dangerous Trump is. You know, the late, great journalist Harry Evans, one time said that, journalists should, really try to achieve objectivity. And by that, he said, I mean, they should cover the object. Well, the object in this case is Donald Trump, his demagoguery, his danger to our country and the world, and stick with it.
Stick with it? Until when? They successfully have him assassinated, and of course Maddow did not call out Hillary's ugly, inflammatory rhetoric. She just encouraged it.
He's still being taught, especially by the media, that the more offensive he is, the more he can dominate the media space entirely. And I feel like you've been a good diagnoser of that.